Anti-Indigenous racism.
Mary Ellen Turpel-Lafond is considered to be one of Canada's most prominent and successful Indigenous scholars and leaders. She has been a high-profile voice on behalf of Indigenous communities for decades.
Mary Ellen Turpel is also with us,
even representing them during the Charlottetown Accord negotiations.
Mary Ellen Turpel-Lafond. She is the first Native judge in Saskatchewan.
In 1999, Turpel-Lafond sat down with CBC's Pamela Wallin.
My father's a Cree Indian from Norway House, Manitoba. My mother is Scottish and English, and she's from Fort William or Thunder Bay, Ontario. So I come from a bicultural background.
What status does that give you?
I'm a Treaty Indian.
Late last year, however, CBC News received tips that raise questions about Turpel-Lafond's claims to Indigenous ancestry. Turpel-Lafond told CBC News that her dad, Bill, was Cree. She also said that he was raised by her grandparents, William and Eleanor Turpel. But genealogical records show that her grandparents were of European and American ancestry. CBC News asked Turpel-Lafond, given that, how could her dad be Cree? In an email, she didn't answer directly, only hinting at family secrets.
There was a Dr. Turpel at Norway House when I was just a boy. The Turpels were not Cree. They were white people.
The claim is also disputed by 93-year-old Joe Keeper from Norway House, who went to school with Turpel-Lafond's father. He doubts her dad was Cree.
He was not an Indian boy, he was a white boy. The first I've heard of Billy being Indian is when I've heard it from you.
CBC News asked Turpel-Lafond where and when her dad was born. She refused to say, so CBC went looking for records. A newspaper announcement and a baptismal record obtained by CBC both say her dad was born in Victoria, BC, and his parents were Dr. William and Eleanor Turpel. Mark Humphreys, a history professor from Wilfrid Laurier University, helped CBC examine a wide range of historical records.
In that normal way of doing things, as an historian, when you see all these records line up, it would be very hard for me as an historian to not conclude that the boy born in Victoria was, in fact, the son of William and Eleanor Turpel.
The Harvard and Cambridge-educated legal scholar has served as a law professor and judge and children's advocate. She's also received honorary doctorates from 11 universities.
Over the past decade, she has been the voice of those who cannot be heard, particularly those from Aboriginal communities.
Because Turpel-Lafond didn't say who her father's biological parents were, CBC reached out to one of her sisters. She said she believed her dad was either adopted from a Cree family or was the product of an affair involving her grandfather and a Cree woman. But CBC has found no evidence to support that claim. And Turpel-Lafond has declined to provide her Indian status card, or even say if she has one.
And Jeff, this, of course, isn't the first time this kind of allegation has been made against someone.
Yeah, no, definitely not. I mean, over the past year and a half here in Saskatchewan, I've looked into a number of claims about non-Indigenous people who have claimed to be Indigenous. And there's a lot of concern out there about this because people say it can rob Indigenous people, genuine Indigenous people, of opportunities like scholarships or jobs that are meant specifically for them. And so in this case, some people say Turpel-Lafond has benefited from her claims and therefore has an obligation to answer questions about them.
But she doesn't see it that way.
No, she definitely doesn't. She's refused to do an interview with us, and she's in fact said questioning her ancestry was offensive and was a violation of her privacy. In an email, she did point out to us that she has been accepted as a member of her husband's community, the Muskeg Lake Cree Nation here in Saskatchewan. And her supporters say if a First Nations community has accepted her, that should be good enough for everyone.
All right, Jeff Leo in Saskatchewan. Thank you, Jeff.
Yeah, you're welcome.